right, thanks for joining me here today. This is Miss Johnson, and I am here to bring you your notes video for Unit 9 Notes 3, which is on rational expressions. Our objectives today are I can simplify rational expressions, and I can find excluded values of rational expressions. So let's first just start out by defining what a rational expression is. A rational expression is an algebraic fraction whose numerator and denominator are polynomials. An algebraic fraction whose numerator and denominator are polynomials. So for example, we'd have something that looks maybe like this, for x over y. So both of those things have variables in them, which makes them polynomials, okay? Excluded values of rational expressions. We all know that in fractions, we can't divide by 0. So when we're looking for excluded values, we need to look for any value that makes the denominator of the rational expression 0. Okay, so cannot divide by 0. So anything that equals 0 in the denominator has to be excluded. Okay, so let's start out by finding that. We're going to just see if we can figure out what those excluded values look like. It says in numbers 1 through 4, state the excluded values for each rational expression. It may only be one, it may be more than one. In number 1, I am looking at the expression 5m plus 3 divided by m minus 6. So I'm concerned with the denominator here. I have a denominator of m minus 6, so I'm going to take that, and to figure out what is excluded, I'm going to set it equal to 0. Okay, because that's what it can't be. It can't be something that's equal to 0. So I have m minus 6 is equal to 0, and we all know how to solve this. Add 6 to both sides, m equals 6. So the way I write this out is I'm going to say that the excluded value, that's how I'm going to label it, m cannot equal 6. So there's my excluded value. And we hopefully remember this symbol right here. This symbol right here is not equal to, just in case you forgot what that symbol means. Okay, so let's look at number 2. In number 2, I have x squared minus 5 divided by x squared minus 5x plus 6. So now I have to look at the denominator, and I need to figure out where that's equal to 0. Well, in this case, I have a trinomial, which means I need to factor. That's what I'm going to start with. So I'm going to set up the factor x. I have a positive 6 up here. I have a negative 5 down there. My values are negative 3 and negative 2. Now, since the a value is equal to 1, I know that this whole trinomial is just x minus 3 and x minus 2. So I'm going to set both of those equal to 0, this one and that one. So this one's going to have two excluded values. I have x minus 3 equals 0, or x equals 3, and x minus 2 equals 0, or x equals 2. So in this case, my excluded values, and it's okay if you want to abbreviate, that's fine with me, are going to be x is not equal to 2 or 3. Okay, so I can't have 2 or 3 in that expression. What that means is anytime I plug in a 2 or 3 in that expression, I get something that's undefined because I get 0 in the denominator. Now let's take a look at number 3. I want you to see if you can figure out what the excluded value for number 3 is at this point. So you can go ahead and pause your video and try and solve that one. And let's move on to number 4. I'm going to start out by helping you factor number 4, just so we can do that part together. Our a value is no longer 1, so that makes factoring a little more tricky. So I need to start setting up my x by multiplying the 3 times the negative 5, which is negative 15. So I want two numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add to positive 14. In this case, that happens to be positive 15 and negative 1. So now I'm going to split my middle term. Get rid of the 14x. I have 3x squared plus 15x minus x minus 5. And then factor by grouping. So I'm going to group those two, group those two. I can take out a 3 from the first set. Oh, I'm sorry, I can take out a 3 and an x from the first set. So I have 3x on the outside. That leaves me with x plus 5 on the middle. In the second set, I can take out a negative 1, which leaves me with x plus 5. So the factored form is 3x minus 1 and x plus 5. And now I want you to see if you can finish it and figure out what the excluded values are. So you have the factored form of the bottom. Now see if you can figure out the excluded values. So go ahead and pause your video and take care of that. Let's talk about simplifying rational expressions. When we simplify rational expressions, we are going to eliminate any common factors in the numerator and the denominator. So to simplify a rational expression, we must eliminate any common factors from the numerator and the denominator. So let's take a look at some examples there. In number 5, I have negative 3x squared times 4x to the 5th is equal to 9x squared. So I'm first going to start by making the top all one term. I have two separate sets of parentheses, and I'm going to put those together. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And x squared times x to the 5th is x to the 7th. The bottom's already one term by itself, so I have 9x to the 6th. So now, with that fraction, that rational expression, I'm going to look for common factors. I have a common factor with the negative 12 and the 9. Negative 12 and 9 are both divisible by 3, so I'm going to divide out the 3. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then I look at the x's. I have x to the 7th power on top and x to the 6th power on the bottom. When I simplify that, x to the 7th becomes x to the 1st, and this whole piece is going to go away. So in the denominator, all I have left is the 3. In the numerator, I have negative 4x to the 1st. So that looks like negative 4x to the 1st over 3. Or you'll sometimes see that with the negative written out front. And we all know that we don't need to write x to the 1st power. That's probably how you would see it if this were a multiple choice test. Okay. Let's take a look at number 6. In number 6, I have 16c squared b to the 4th divided by 8c to the 3rd b. I have no multiplication to take care of. I already have only one term on top and one term on the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and simplify everything that I can. The number part, I can take 16 and 8 and divide by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. 8 divided by 8 is 1. Then c squared over c to the 3rd. I have 2 on top, 3 on the bottom. This whole term's going to go away, and that's going to leave me with 1c on the bottom. And then the b's, I have b to the 4th over b. I can get rid of this one, and that's going to leave me with 3 on top. So let's take a look at what I have left. Now it's really important that you have kind of neat handwriting here, because when you're crossing a bunch of stuff out and moving a bunch of stuff around, it's easy to lose track of what's left over. So if I'm really careful about what I have left over, I have the 2, I have the b, and it's raised to the 3rd power. So 2b to the 3rd power. And in the bottom, I'm left with just c. Okay, and then I always like to check too, take a look at your final results. Okay, is there anything else that I missed? Is there something else that I could simplify and take out? Because that's just a surefire way to check your work and make sure you've done everything you can. Okay, I want you to go ahead and work on number 7 on your own. See if you can finish number 7. And then I want you to stop there for today. That's going to be the end of our video. Don't forget to go back to Schoology and take the quiz. Have a wonderful night.